Hello there, everybody. This is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks, falling off
Your
the
chair.
screen and the chin. No, no, don't even say it.
And hi, this is James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James. Glad to have you with us tonight. This is Granny Rocks.
Right, before
Yeah.
you get into that, honey, I'd like to do what I usually do, which is announce the topic.
Oh, sure, go
So
right
tonight
ahead.
I'm going to talk about, you notice that I'm not in the picture, that's not good. Okay, tonight I'm going to talk about how we diminish ourselves, why we diminish ourselves, and what to do about it. This may turn into a two-show topic. I'm not sure yet because I never know what I'm going to say until I actually say it. But I really want to talk to you about this tonight. But before I do, Sweet
Uh,
Baby James is going to talk about our show.
yes, this is Granny Rocks, where we have the opportunity to experience Granny's wisdom, wit, and uncommon sense every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. So stay tuned. And now over to Granny.
So I want to talk about this topic. It's really an amazing topic in the sense that it's big. It really, really refers to a lot of different things for a lot of people, and it includes our society. And I actually made a few notes, which of course I can't read, but we'll see what happens. Oh, yes, and I also have to open up Facebook, so we'll see whether or not anybody is commenting or saying hello to us. So excuse me while I prove to you what a failure I really am. So as I'm doing that very thing, here we go. Here we go. Oh, make sure that the volume is. Oh my God! Actually, the volume is off. Um, but Facebook doesn't seem to be working. Okay, no problem. This is very
We're
typical.
live and looky
Oh
here.
my goodness, we already have 3 comments. Elizabeth said hi. Hi,
Hi,
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Amy says hi, guys.
Hi,
Hello, Amy.
Amy.
Blanca says hello, Beth and James. Hola, Blanca. And Tracy says
Hola.
hello. Very happy to see
Hello,
all of you
Tracy.
already. So, anyway, I'm going to stick that in the corner and hope for the best. So, you know, whenever there's a change in a dynamic, in like if there's a change in one member of a group or one member of a family or one member of a couple, then there is a change in the power relationship between them. If one is up, then all of a sudden it's like, whoop, wait a minute, I want to get this hand. There it is. Okay. Or if you start here and one goes down, then there's another change, or if one is going up and the other is going down. Okay. And the problem is that we always see things in terms of power because that is the way we are raised. We are raised in a very ego based way that we think of ourselves as separate individuals who have to fight one another to win. Now, we've talked about this on Granny Rocks before, but I want to talk about it specifically in this context. I could turn my chair around. Um, because we can see that as long as we are seeing relationships between people not as mutually supportive but as competitive, then the strengthening of one always creates a fear that there's going to be a change in the power dynamic. I mean, if you look at the political system, it's so obvious as well. I mean, if the Democrats win, now the Republicans feel like they've lost and they're in a weakened condition, or vice versa if the Republicans win. So where is our show now? And
There.
there we go. Here we go. Now we've got a few more comments that have already come in. Hi, and that was Todd.
Catalina.
Catalina says, diminishing myself used to be my full-time job. That is very cute. Todd says, hi, Granny and sweet baby James.
Hi, Todd.
Hello, everybody, and hi to Catalina. So if I missed anybody, it's because I'm just not able to see all the comments, but I'm trying to see them all as they come on. So We've got to stop thinking of everything as being about power against one another. We've got to stop thinking about winning and losing. We have to start thinking about mutual support. This is the whole problem in our world. You know, oh, yes, my store, I'm going to be cutthroat competition to get your store out of the way. And then, as long as your store is now out of the way, then I can actually raise all everybody's the money that it costs to buy my product. But first I'm going to reduce my product. And Unurbot said, hi there. I'm sure I mispronounced your name, but I'm very grateful that you're with us, whoever you are and wherever you're from. So that's really fabulous. um, so anyway, and Jose says, hi, Mom and Papa. God bless you so much.
Hi,
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. I love it. Thank you, everybody, for showing up already tonight. So do you understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying, gee, it would be great to have 3 stores in the neighborhood that provide different things, or we're strong in this way, you're strong in that way. Now that would be good for the people who live there. No, we can't have that because we have to win. And so when we win, we may drop our price, but it's only a trick to get somebody to buy in our store. So you see what I'm saying? And in the end, people lose. Because the people who can't afford to do that, who can't drop their prices, are going to get pushed out. And they may be your favorite store with the granny and the anyway. So
that's happened a lot with bookstores, local bookstores getting pushed out by national chains.
Yes, I'm sure that's true. And so what I'm saying is we already have an example where I'm talking about in the economic sphere. But I would like to focus a lot right now, today, on the personal sphere. And Jim says, hola, Beth and James.
Hola.
Hi, Jim. Happy Wednesday. I'm listening. Philosophy on Wednesdays, piano on Thursdays. He's referring to the fact that we broadcast Dreams of Peace at Propositional Piano Thursday nights. Love you both. So as usual, I'm listening to what you're thinking about tonight. Oh, I'm so glad you are. So it's not our fault that we are this way. We have an economic system that is based on competition, and we have family relationships that are often also based on competition, aren't they?
Yeah, siblings with competition for attention.
Right. And then they go to school and they're competing with each other. Now, let's say I am smarter. Maybe this time I'm the smarter one, right? Or prettier. That wasn't me. I was never considered prettier, but I was definitely considered smarter. So I was so damn smart as a kid, I've lost so many gray cells as I've aged, right? You'd never know it, but I really was very smart as a kid. So as a kid, there was a lot of resentment of me. The other kids didn't like me. My brother didn't like me. They made fun of me and all of that. So I knew that either I was going to be smart or I was going to be popular and accepted. I certainly wasn't going to be both. So I tried to figure out how to degrade myself. Now, it's not like I sat there and I said, gee, world, how am I going to degrade myself so my brother doesn't beat me up? I just did it. I just did it. See, it was very easy. Oh, Adamina says, good night. Hello. Bye. Oh, does that mean you left already? So I hope that you will come back when you're, at a better time and listen to the replay. So we have a lot of people who are from out of the country, and they're at, different times. So here we are, right? I am anxious to make a revolution. That was what I was trying to do my whole childhood, life, young adulthood, middle age. I was trying to make the revolution. First on the outside, then on the inside. So I had the perfect excuse to degrade myself because I had to fit in. You can't go into a factory and start speaking Shakespeare and think people are going to follow you on strike, right?
Right.
So I hung out with my working class friends, and I started to speak incorrect English.
Mm.
And I cursed every other word because that's the way they were. And I was trying to fit in, and my rationalization, of course, was that I was doing it for the revolution.
Mm-hmm.
See, but when I think about my life and I see how many ways and how many times I degraded myself, I think I may have been rationalizing that just a tad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, my mother always told me, don't let boys ever know how smart you are because they won't want you. Okay, she was right. I have to say that's the truth. But I don't want somebody who doesn't want me the way I am, right? So it was, I never thought that I did it, but I did. And I'm going to show you how. And I'm hoping you're relating. Amy says, I love this topic. We learn to diminish ourselves so others don't feel threatened, and I won't be thrown out of the tribe. That is exactly the point, Amy. And I think we see it in the political parties as well. Don't step out of line. Now, I mean, we're seeing it in Technicolor in one of the parties right now. Not saying that it doesn't happen in the other party as well. But people have acted like complete idiots in order to get love, the love of the base, right?
Yeah.
And they say things that they know are not right, and they're going to do it anyway. But who am I to paint, them as being stupid when I've done the same thing? So now,
Could I just add one more thing here?
sure.
The opposite perspective. You've been coming from the perspective of being smarter and making yourself looking less smart. Well, I've come from a perspective of always feeling unworthy or not good enough or whatever, and competing really hard to keep up or be ahead. And so for me, it's been the other way around. And so whenever something happens where I made a mistake, or I feel ashamed or embarrassed, then I diminish myself automatically because I'm conditioned to think of myself as, if I'm not
Right.
doing
Okay.
everything right, I'm less than.
That's right. And I am going to try to get to that. See, I think this is going to be a two-parter because I mean I haven't even gotten started yet on my notes. I have a couple of notes. But what I thought you were going to say is when you feel that way because you're afraid of the power of the other person and you feel insecure about it yourself, then you are going to try to diminish them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we can be diminishing ourselves, but see, we also diminish others. And I think that's really important. But again, it comes from that same malignancy of believing that everything is a competition and that we have to be on top in order to win, in order to protect ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
So when there is a change in the perceived balance of power, like if you feel like you're going down,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do something to put down the other person, or if I feel like I'm gaining, I may have to do something about it, or someone else may be trying to diminish me. It's ridiculous. We have so many problems in this world, guys. We need all the gray cells we have. We need all the creativity we have. We need all the good health, the warm feelings, the love, the compassion that are available to us to try to begin to deal with what is ailing us. Todd says, yes, great topic, and it runs so deep in our culture. Oh, you bet it does, Todd. And it's pathetic when we see it in our personal relationships, but that's where it starts. I mean, it starts in our families. Now, I want to talk about how we diminish ourselves. And the word I want to use is degrading. Degradation, I think I actually wrote down something here. Degradation, I mean in the literal sense, breaking down or deteriorating is degradation. I am degrading. I'm not talking about I'm degrading someone else. I'm talking about that I am degrading. I'm becoming less whole, more weak. And I'm not disagreeing with what you were saying, James. I just wanted to get onto this point, and I want to get to that probably maybe next week, but who knows. So we begin to break ourselves down. So, like, not speaking correct English is I am diminishing my capacity to speak and to think, because when you're saying curses on this and curse that and using this word and that word, that is, you're not thinking. You're not actually being specific. You're not saying what you're feeling. You're not saying what's going on. And there is a whole degradation of thought that comes along with the degradation of our language. At least that was my experience. So, how do I diminish myself? Oh my God. I'm going to give some examples. Wasn't just me with my brain. I was also degrading myself sexually because I thought that men would overlook my brain if I was sexy enough. I mean, I didn't know how to get rid of my brain entirely, except to drink, which I also did. Like, oh, yeah, right on. So, you know, I couldn't take drugs. That was just too much for me. But anyway, I used sex and I felt degraded because I put myself in situations where I didn't have a real relationship with somebody, but I had a great degradation going on with them. They treated me badly, and I treated myself badly, and then I felt ashamed. And then, coming to your point, James, about how we feel when we feel ashamed of ourselves, then we really start to treat ourselves even worse. But I did that in the vain hope that somehow or other I was going to get acceptance. And what really ended up happening is I just ended up getting degraded, you know. So I want us to take a look at how we, James,
How we what?
can you put that down? Thank you, honey. How we expose ourselves to degrading influences in order to degrade ourselves. So, for example, for me, one of my biggest issues is my health. Those of you who know me know that I've been sick since I'm 15 years old, and I was not well before that. But I've been really, really chronically ill since I'm 15. And one of the things that gets me is smells. You know, as soon as there's a fragrance or a chemical or something like that. And I have allowed myself to be in situations where I'm being exposed to these smells and I don't stop it. Why? That's me. I'm degrading myself. Do you understand? I am reducing myself. I am breaking down the little health that I have in order to have some effect, to be accepted or to be loved or belong or whatever it is. I'm going to get to that. So for me, a lot of it is physical. And we're going to get to other ways that people degrade themselves physically, like through drugs or alcohol or getting overtired. There are so many ways people are actually degrading themselves. But it may show up in a reluctance to get higher education. Let's say you're in a group, a tribe of people, a family, a group of friends, whatever, that don't have that higher education. Maybe you're afraid that they're going to get mad at you, that they're going to come after you. Or maybe you're afraid they're just going to abandon you and then you'll be alone. And it's just too scary. Or that they'll think that you think that you're better than them. It just doesn't have anything to do with being better. See, if when we're thinking in terms of being better, we're already into the ego and the comparison and the winning and all of that. It's not about being better. It's what do you have to contribute? Do you have this to contribute? Well, then, for God's sakes, contribute it. I want you to have that. You know, whatever it is that you have, I want you to have it, and I want you to bring it here to us, into our world. I don't care what political party you're a member of. If you have brains and a good idea, for God's sake, bring it forward. Not what we do today, where we're always fighting each other, and that's what partisanship is really about, becoming little tribes that can fight one another. We might as well be having gang warfare in the capital. So we can be reluctant to having higher education. That's a perfect example. We could self-sabotage around tests. Well, I think I'll smoke a joint. Do they call them joints anymore? Okay. a marijuana thing. Anyway, let's snort cocaine or something before our, before I go in to the exam. So people will actually degrade themselves and self-sabotage around tests. Um, Now, as I mentioned before, we can expose ourselves to things that damage us physically and mentally, drugs, alcohol, people who are abusive to us, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. We can get overtired through not sleeping or through just overexerting ourselves, which are two different ways. And then we can subject ourselves to sexual experiences that are degrading, where we are treated like we have no value. And how many of us have done that? We are actually making ourselves less than in our own eyes and in the eyes of the people who use and abuse us. So instead of gaining all this love that we think we're going to get by becoming, used by people sexually, instead we are treated in a very poor way, and we hate ourselves for it, and we only get disgust from them. Erica says, me too. Yay, Erica.
Right on.
Not that I want it to be. Another way that we degrade ourselves is to allow ourselves to be abused verbally or physically. It happens all the time. I want you to feel powerful. See, the thing is, somehow I think that by letting you get away with thinking that you're powerful, that I'm going to get what I want out of it. Now, I want to talk about this more, and it looks like we're kind of running out of time. So I'm not going to be able to talk too much about this tonight. I'm going to finish this up next week because I also want to talk about how this works in the society. But we know that this is a rabbit hole, because once we feel degraded, then we get into what you were talking about earlier, James.
Mm-hmm.
Once we start to feel degraded, we start to feel ashamed, we put ourselves down more and more and more, and then we allow ourselves to be abused more and more and more. Or we have a kind of a reaction, and we try to regain that sense of self-respect by degrading others. And when I say degrading them, I mean reducing them, diminishing their power. Now, I would like to say something about power here before I leave you, like, so excited about that you could just have to come back next week, because I have so much more to talk about. Like, why do we do this? More on why, and what can we do about it? And how this is playing out in our world today, which is pretty obvious, right? So, what was I going to say? I can't even remember. How was I going to conclude? I just say a few more words.
Well, you started to say something about power. Like it has
Oh,
power.
yes. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Power is not relative.
Mm.
And this is the beginning of understanding how we're going to get through this. Power is not relative. Power is intrinsic. It is, either I have the power to walk across the room, or I don't have the power to walk across the room. It doesn't matter whether you're running across the room, or you're standing on your head, or you're lying in bed and can't get up either. The power to do something, to accomplish something, the power to connect to our inner power. When we start to diminish ourselves, we lose the power to connect to our inner power, and it's not relative to anybody else. Years ago, the inner voice told me that in a couple situation, for example, it's not 50-50. What we need to do is bring 100% of what we have into every interaction.
Mm.
It's not, there's no pie. We're not dividing up a pie. There's no pie of power that we are competing for.
Mm.
It's really simple. Just bring 100% of what you have into every interaction. But it isn't so simple. And I will get on to why next week. So please like the show. Please love the show. Please comment. Even after the live stream, you can still comment, and I will get back to you and share this part 1. And come back next week and tell everybody you know about Granny Rocks, because we have a lot of work to do together, don't we? And I need you, and you need me, and I need him, and he needs me, and we all need one another to make this a better world, don't we?
Yes. So true.
Until I see you again.
Yes, indeed. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Have a great time. And don't forget that tomorrow night, Dreams of Peace.
Improvisational piano. Bye-bye. 7:30. No, 7 o'clock Pacific time. Bye-bye. We'll see you, Jim. Erica says, bring 100% of what you have. Perfect. Yes, indeed. Bye-bye.